Sup Shredders, my name is Logan, aka Spiderhands, and welcome to SP Reviews, where today we have ourselves an album from an act named Sweet Lily Love, titled Fresh. If we switch over to here, we have the album art on the screen here. We've got ourselves 7 tracks today. We're going to be checking out 6 of them, from Drum Machine, Lil Kandi, Raver, Techno Wonderland, The Beat 666, Wicked Woman, and Uncle Al's fully extended version. We're going to listen through each of these tracks from start to finish and going to hear what you think. Let's go. It does have that chiptune kind of vibe to it straight away with those rolling arpeggios. It's nice and bouncy, isn't it? Nice padding there as well on the left side. It's very colorful, isn't it? It does have that kind of rave oral aesthetic to it, doesn't it? Lots of colorful melodies in here. Catchy, easy to digest, very energetic. Loving the charisma to it so far. Nice filtering here. It's very intense. Even those vocals coming in there, I was like, wait, are those vocals a little bit too present? But then they kind of sank in among everything else. And you're like, oh no, this is part of the tapestry we've got being woven here. It's gorgeous. You never know what's going to come next. I like that unpredictability. Oh, some plucks here? No? Really just really quick chord changes. And that pad on the side. Kind of listen. It reminds me of a lot of the music I used to hear on like the Nintendo 60, Nintendo CNESs. That's right, the Super Nintendos and stuff like that. The music's fire, man. I love how people are returning to that style of music with this chiptune kind of stuff. It's sick, man. Sweet Lily Love is doing a great job of it so far. Oh, nice photo work there. So where we see quite an adept understanding of how to continue, how to manipulate vocals to sound the way we want them through filtering and other sort of effects and lighting with it. I don't know how you come up with it though. It's kind of inspirational. Level up, nice. The spell has been broken, having the level up sound, new section, great. Really slick move there, slick transitions. It's relentless, isn't it? And there's a really nice low end resonance there with those sort of synthy basic kicks. They're almost like distorted 808s, aren't they? And you've also got those pads and those little squeaky synths on the top as well. I'm not sure what we're meant to be taking focus to. How do we know just to randomly put that in there? Is it just a way of transitioning to a new section so that we don't have that awkward kind of tonal cut there? It keeps it so interesting though, I suppose. It's quite experimental. I could totally imagine people grooving to this. I'm wondering if there could have been, the vocals could have been a little bit more sidechained by. Oh no, if the vocals were sidechained, they would have just been cutting away at it all the time. I suppose. I understand why we made the decision there. I like the timbre of the vocals, you know. I like Sweet Little Love can sing, you know. Some of those legato cascading passages there are really sweet. And we've got that repetition there. We're aware that we need to come to some semblance of we can't just completely abandon a theme once we've instantiated it. We need to keep it sort of catchy, especially if we've got that chorus line now. Oh, that chromatic's nice. See that little transition, da 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 da, that fun little melodic concept was made a lot of sense to me put there because it's like another tail end to that chorus line. That's a pretty way to end it. I got a lot of time for this album already. Fresh. It does sound remarkably fresh. There's a crispness to the audio, the production quality, especially on those vocal lines. You know, she's so present in the mix without there being any sort of errors in the EQing. I dig it. I dig it a lot. I can also hear the double tracking in the different octaves in some bits. We've got a lower section on the left and then a higher on the right. That's a smart move. Having it in harmony gives it more presence in the mix. But also the volume, the balance is it was balanced well in the mix, you know. And the vocals never really seemed like they were too much for everything else, and it was a really sort of trippy time we had with that one. I think Drum Machine Joy is about someone who is trying to use their music to make another person happy. So that's a dope thing to make music about. I dig it. Great start. We've got Little Kandi Raver now, track number 2. How do you come up with this stuff, dude? It's wild. It's wild, man. Oh. Oh, and those kicks, dude. Dun 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 dun. Got that hard style to it. There's this gorgeous coloration, the harmonies and these melodies, and these synths are just so succulent, but then that kick and that bass, it slaps you back into cognition. It's great. What the f- This is so out there. It's avant-garde. I haven't heard anything like this before, but I kind of adore it. I found a new type of music that I haven't heard before. It's not often that I hear something like this. It's actually been a long time. And it's so uplifting, and it's honestly, I don't feel like I'm gonna forget it anytime soon either, you know? The craziness, the near insanity is memorable. Kind of sounds like she's talking through a telephone, except the telephone, the hold signal is the vocoder. How do you like come up with having these ascending string melodies on either side there? How do you balance out the low end so smoothly? How do you get this to not be completely just too much? I suppose you get lost in it, right? I suppose that's the point of this kind of music, is that you're meant to get lost in it and lose your inhibitions. And just kind of rave and dance along to it, right? Was she saying pump the bass up? Are we going to get more bass? Was there not enough bass there? Yeah, there is that bass in there. Boom, 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 boom. No chord, no groove. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. The melodies are so friendly, and they share similar chord progressions and key signatures and stuff like that, but at the same time, they're so distinct and unique, and I'm not sure how they manage that. It's not like they're hugely unique and they're different in their textures. I mean, obviously the wow, that was an unusual one that we haven't heard yet. It would have been fun to make this, you know, to have gone there and found how can I communicate what I want to in the world and spit out these messages about a Kandi Raver and such. And this is the result. And it's honestly so invigorating. You know, I have felt exhausted all day. And to be able to have music that kind of sort of breathes back a little bit of life into me is something that is almost alien. You know, a lot of music will take that away, but not this one. I kind of like the fact that we've got these really intense synth strings, these leads there, that is hard lining in sync with that vocal melody. And it's almost like the voice is a synth. Everything is a synth aside from the drums. Maybe the drums are even made by a synth. Everything is synths, everything is fast, everything is unrelenting, but it's also got this youthfulness and vibrancy to it that makes it addictive. And there's a sequencer there, and a very subtle one that I can hear, as well as an additional layer in this part. It's so loud. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't get a lot of the lyrics or the story there. I'm back into it. Yeah, great. Great way to finish it there. Like, it would just absolutely just smash up the club with this. That extra bit of boom, 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 boom there. It's just enough to just tank it, man. It just destroy the speakers, dude. Like, it's redlining in my OBS software over there. That is how objectively loud it is. To be fair, I think the song sounds just as good without those really high, colorful melodic synths there. I think that just the kick in that boom, 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 you can hella dance to that too. But we're going Kandi Raver. It's almost like when you take away all the pretty, kind of adorable, kind of beautiful high frequency stuff and the mids, you can just jot it just as well with that chord note groove there, when you've just got the meat and potatoes kind of stuff in the low end. I know I may not have really said much more than colorful and bright and pretty in there, but I don't really know how to explain the veracity of what I heard with Little Kandi Raver. It was almost like a lot of the music is self-explanatory. It requires an intense and deep understanding of music production as well as composition and theory to be able to get something like that to work. It's incredibly creative. We never sat on one concept for longer than we needed to. Whenever we did return to a hook or like a drop or something like that, even if we were repeating melodies near verbatim, it was almost like it was better every single time because we're just getting more and more and more hype because of those sub builds and those different alternate kind of tail ends we got occasionally. I'm very happy with this album so far. We got Techno Wonderland, track number 3. Kind of neoclassical harpsichord kind of vibe going on here. That's a song, isn't it? Da 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 with you, or something like that. It's kind of cool that we're instantiating those melodic themes there. It allows us, by not singing the words, it allows us to kind of move away from what might have come beforehand. Using a different instrument is a great fun. So I think initially that was sung by a singer. That transcription's good. Okay, sick. All right. Nice modulation and shift of that. I like that. Oh, we're gonna bomb, 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 bomb. That hard style coming back in again. I gotta hand it to Sweet Little Love. She creative. The fact of the matter is that she can sing naturally without the effects chain. So, like, that's just elevates it. If you can produce music and if you can sing, you've got yourself a damn surefire way of finding success in the industry. Because you need both nowadays. I mean, I know she's probably using some sort of vocoder here, but still, I've heard her clean stuff. It's great. Oh, the breakbeats there. Is there like an ethereal kind of ghost spooky synth pad in the background? And we're sitting on that theme, and we wanted to continue at it. That's great. I've got no real complaints with that. No real complaints with that. I think it's a smart move, you know? If you've got a catchy melodic idea, don't throw it away. Don't throw it away, you know? It just slaps. Like, it's enough. You don't need to overcomplicate the concept there. Having those breakbeats at the end is enough. I know a lot of the times with this kind of music, especially when people are having a great time or are ahead of themselves a little bit. Maybe you're not expecting it to be a progressive metal performance where like you've got a different riff every 5 seconds. We are aware of when to change and when to keep. Nice real tail on that or rather decay tail or sustained tail on that crash. Any of those. Are we going polyrhythms now? I'm lost. I don't know where we are right now. I don't know where we're going next. Again, it's unpredictable. That's the best kind, you know? That bass on that side is fun. It's just bomb, 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 bomb. It's that papa kind of vibe to it. It's like a tuba or a sousaphone or something like that, you know? I wonder how long it took to decide where to put the different vocal takes and how to automate them, you know? Again, you know, doing this kind of electronic music is not simple. You not only need to have the correct tones you want, you also need to know how to get these different textures, which are potentially quite alien sounding, to work in a song. And then you also need to know how to filter those different sounds once you found them to keep them sounding fresh there. There's so much to be able to be aware of before you can create tracks at this level. I mean that genuinely. I'm not saying it just to be nice. I'm very happy with what I've heard today so far. It shows a clear fundamental understanding of what's required to make music within the genre. It's fun, dude. Because that could have been some really sharp, like 3 to 4 kilohertz action at this point. But, you know, Sweet Lily Love, sheep, handled it, you know? No resonances there. All class. Let's break here. And you'll notice that the harmony doesn't resolve. There's a tension there until the last part, which is where it's meant to kind of not necessarily loop back into itself, find its last step that it needs. Are we fading out now? We're a fan of those fade outs. I dig it. I mean, I'm fine. I don't necessarily have a problem with people fade out. There are songs I've listened to and reviewed where they often will fade out when they're in the middle of a guitar solo or something like that. And I'm like, why would you do that? The guitar solo is awesome. But that's just the way people roll, man. Sometimes people like to ruin fun. But yeah, man. That's 3 for 3 as far as I'm concerned. Techno Wonderland. It is inviting you to get lost in that wonderland of techno and that raver and their drum machines. I'm looking forward to the next 3. I know we've got the Beat 66 and the Beat 66 Uncle Al's extended version or complete version or whatever it's called. But there's nothing wrong with that, dude. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, fully extended version. I don't even know why I have the album artist there. I don't need it here. It's fine. Yeah, the Beat 66. Beat 666. Number 4. It's a very different vocal style, but it kind of works. Very grandiose. Are we gonna go kind of like, how are we gonna approach this? The Beat 666. The number of the beast. I'm suspicious and intrigued. The vocals sound quite resonant over the rest of the mix. I'm not sure if that's intentional or not. Again, there's like unity among some of the melodic elements in addition to the vocals. I think it might have been a deliberate choice to just have the filtered kicks. Because they're definitely filtered at this point, I think. They usually have a sharper attack to them. Fear not, my child, fear not the night. Take your pleasures wherein, that'll be alright. Are they saying that if you get lost in the beat that it's okay and you're not going to suffer for it? Is that what they're getting out there? I am intrigued and uncertain. Oh, okay. Okay. That was very short. I didn't like this track as much as I like the others. I think that the concept has been fleshed out enough, and I like that we were doing something different. My understanding of what Sweet Lily Love experiments in is like experimental kind of electro, kind of like that rave hardstyle kind of like techno music. And I can appreciate from like a music theory, compositional standpoint, as well as a production point, I understand that what we're trying to do here was cool. Just for whatever reason, it just didn't resonate as much. Maybe we just needed more time with it, which is why, we listened to the Beat 666. The extended version, maybe that's going to be where we get that little bit of extra flavor that allows us to fully appreciate the original motif. We've got Wicked Woman, track number 5. I like this a bit more gentle though, to be fair. I like the Beat 6/6, it's a lot more gentle. I suppose when you hear the Beat 6/6, maybe you expect some sort of like demonic or satanic references there. But I'm not sure. I could have misinterpreted it. It could be standing for something else. And you know what? Honestly, I'm not going to tell Sweet Little Love how to make music. You do your thing. You've been doing it fantastically so far. But yeah, Wicked Woman, track number 5. Oh. Okay, so see, this is instantly like, whoa, what's happening? Oh. I was hesitating on saying guitars and the Beat 666. Cool, I just want to confirm something real quick. I was just tripping there for a minute. Again, it's very different, isn't it? It's almost nice to have that guitar in there as a different element to the synths, the drums, and the bass that we've had, as well as the vocals. But I wonder why. What is Wicked Woman about? Oh, it's gotten really kind of majorish and fluffy, hasn't it? Okay, wow. That kick is unrelenting, isn't it? Along with those offbeat hi-hats. It's almost like power rock or like metal or something like that, but it's like sort of synthetic and trancey and stuff like that. And you got this kind of weird kind of paddy things going on in the background. I have no idea how to approach Wicked Woman, to be honest. That build though is pretty slick. That riser is just chef's kiss, dude. Oh wow, that vocal line was visceral, wasn't it? That was a visceral vocal line. I wasn't expecting it to hit like that. To be real, that hit like a train. It just came out of nowhere, dude. Yeah, it just broke me then. It's not because I think it's bad. I think it's inherently interesting. I would love to interview this person to understand more about their music. The trouble is, like, I have like no spare time at the moment to interview people. How do you come up with this? How do you figure out to put these guitar bits with these don 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 drums? You know, I get it. It's experimental and alternative and a little bit avant-garde and stuff, but it was almost like it somehow works. You'd have to listen to the most wild, crazy, unusual stuff to be able to come up with this. I think that's testament to Sweet Lily Love's experience as a musician and a lover of music in general, you know. My goodness, my God, like how do you decide to have those different textures there? I think this is required listening for anyone making music within this genre. It's just so fascinating, dude. And your guitar solo here and amongst these, I like it. It's got that vocal fry is phenomenal. Like, the vocal fry is unprecedented. I don't know whether they've got a drive pedal or something like that on there. I don't know how they're doing that. It blows my mind, dude. They are so talented to just be able to get that technique there and to make it work with the guitar solos and that bass. Where do you start with that? Like,
can't this thing go any faster than... Wow.
Well, okay, Doc. But always remember...
that was clever, because we had King of the Hill and then we had Bugs Bunny, right? And it is going faster.
You asked for it.
No.
This is real. This is where it gets real, isn't it? This is where we really start pushing the boundaries and testing them. You could only put a song like this late into an album. You couldn't. I don't think you could necessarily get away with it earlier than this. You need to be. I think listeners need to have faith in the composer or the arranger or the producer, the musician involved, or musicians involved to be kept safe even if we go off the beaten path or 100 miles away from it. I don't even know what to say about that. I'm gobsmacked. I respect it, and I think it's utterly incredible for so many different reasons. But I think that everyone listening to that particular part, that we just had the side panning and the automation there, and just those vocal samples and stuff, and the I don't even know, man.
A satanic guitar solo.
It's a pretty slick guitar solo, to be honest. Nice. Okay, yeah, this part slaps. I get it now. You need to kind of have time with it to really appreciate. Okay, no. I'll give Sweet Little Love the benefit of the doubt here. I think I get it. I think that maybe the original theme we had just needed that extra bit of being sped up so that we could get it close to the intensity and the furor of the other tracks we had there. So much energy. So much vigor. It's kind of interesting to me because on one hand, I know that Sweet Lily Love and everyone else involved have an immense passion for music, but they just care so little about trying to appeal to the norms of what's what's in modern music nowadays. That feels like this is almost a protest to a lot of the prepackaged, kind of sterilized, fit in the blanks kind of stuff that comes out in the mainstream now. It's just exactly what we need. And I haven't had an experience like this since I listened to there was another track by the Noon Factoring, You Have to Fight a Gorilla. This is the last time I had an experience like this. I'm not going to say too much about it, but it's very rare that I have the chance to listen through something quite like this. I can't compare it to anything else I've heard in my time as a reviewer. Bearing in mind I've reviewed thousands of songs at this point. Aside from the Noon Factoring, I just can't. And this is not the Noon Factoring. I'm arguably having a different time, and I'm enjoying it a lot. And we've just got one more track to go today. The Beat 66 Uncle Al's fully extended version. I don't know what we're getting ourselves into here. I cannot know anything ever again. I can never know anything ever again, dude. And we just got kind of PS1 era synths. It reminds me of Ape Escape. I don't know if anybody's played that game. The synths that they had when you were transporting between worlds and stuff like that. And just this voiceover. What are we doing? Is this the extension of it? Is this Uncle Al's implement? It's so cute and for real. Sorry to interrupt, but I really think that if Sweet Little Love is not involved in video game music, I definitely think they should be. They should get involved in video game music, dude. There's a lot of indie devs that love stuff like this, man. It's almost got a Hatsune Miku vibe to this vocoder that they're using in this section, and I'm living for it, dude. With the whooshy pads on the sides, it's just, again, it's extra. Like, I honestly don't even know if I've really reviewed this album so much as reacted to it. I mean, I usually do a conclusion at the end where I analyze it a bit anyways, but like, it's mostly been incredulous. I've been incredulous mixed with admiration, mixed with, you know, sheer intrigue. Those are the three main things I've experienced throughout this album. I like that perky kind of occasional melody since they have on top there. Bop, 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 bop. And I like how the vocals are keeping that consistent octave there. I like how it's allowing us to transition between sections. This one, if anything, feels a bit more coherent. And we're keeping that melodic theme there. Like, I love the compression limiting and the way it's mix and master. Just spoiler alert for the last part of the review, but it's just so loud, dude. And I don't know whether it's music B or not, but they've really managed to eke out all of the perceived loudness they can out of those bits. It's not an easy thing to do, you know? And that's the end of it, dude. And we got the tree bell, the shimmer is there. I don't even fucking know. Like, I don't know. This album has broken me a little bit. I've still got to do a live stream after this, and I've got to edit an interview after this, and it's going to be an interview that's a pain in the butt to edit, because there's all this extra stuff I've committed to doing for it. Because this is effectively the conclusion for my review of Fresh, which is an album by Sweet Little Love. I walked into this not knowing what to expect, and I came out of it still not knowing what to expect. I have had my eyes open today, and my ears opened. This genre of music that I've had very little experience with, but nonetheless thoroughly appreciate, it may be very, very common, and I may just be very, very naive and ignorant. I thought I knew a thing or two about this kind of music, but apparently if this is the quality that is, and if this is how much fun it is, I need to listen to a lot more. And I suppose that is the greatest compliment I can sort of provide to Sweet Little Love, is that their album is making me want to hear more music like this. I don't always say that. In fact, I very rarely say that. We had Drum Machine Joy, Little Kandi Raver, Techno Wonderland, The Beat 666, Wicked Woman, and The Beat 666. I got the hang of most of these. I've talked about what these tracks were about, and individually where I could understand them. I'm not sure about Wicked Woman, and Little Kandi Raver was a bit difficult. Part of that was down to me allowing myself to be overwhelmed by everything that was occurring. Part of it was sometimes there was like modulation on the vocals, which made it a little bit difficult to understand what was going on. But at the same time, I'm not even really sure if the story was necessarily the most important part of it. I think in this instance with this album, It was actually the music that was the most important thing. It was the spectacle of it. You know, you had someone who is clearly knowledgeable and clearly could sing really well. I mean, I love the timbre of her vocals. And not only could Sweet Lily Love do the clean vocals outside of that, like in the first track, Drum Machine Joy, but she suited that synth vocodery stuff well, man. And never got old. And she always knew to add something different for each time she did the vocal takes for each track, just so her voice remained unique, even if you're kind of used to the coloration and her style of delivery for the words and stuff like that. I didn't even mind listening through the Beat 666 twice with the Uncle Al's full extended version at the end. I think that if you can make another version of it that's a bit longer, have it fresh and malleable for DJ purposes or whatever, then that's sick. That's really cool. Like, legitimately, I think overall this album is just a showcase of Sweet Lily Love's talent, skill, commitment, experience, and creativity. And I think the experimentation for the most part paid off really, really well. Again, I've talked about her vocals. I think she's a fantastic singer, and I hope she continues to do so. I'm not sure what kind of microphone she was using, though. It sounded great. Yeah, the production quality's up there. Again, I've got so many questions because I don't get to listen to music like this that much. At some point, when I get as I continue to do more reviews and stuff like that, I might look to start to reach out to artists and musicians that I do reviews for, just to interview them about this stuff, like for personal reasons, I suppose, because, you know, it's one thing to be able to listen to an album and respect it. But when you have that natural inclination to want to get more from it than just that, if you're like wanting to learn stuff from the people that you review, then that is something that's quite special, I think. I suppose the structure of the tracks was just chaos. Like, you just had no idea what was going next. And I love that to pieces. We had loud parts, we had quiet parts, we had builds and drops, we had some chorus and hook lines occasionally. It was, you never knew what you were going to get. Even with the second Beat 666. I had no clue, man. I had no clue. And I love that. It's one of the rare moments where I have no idea what's going to happen next, and I appreciate that. The instrumentation, like, we had guitars, bass, synths, pads, vocals, samples, you name it. We had so many different elements going on here. Core melodic motifs that were played for each track were memorable and easy to hum along with. The drums were unrelenting. Unrelenting. They never stopped. They just kept going and going and going and going and going. It was like you were just compelled to continue to get sucked in by it. The bass was present there a lot of the time in sync with the kicks there for that dom 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 kind of sound. You heard everything else. And if you haven't heard everything else, go check out this album in your own time. Listen to it and appreciate and experience it, because you will probably not hear another album like this anytime soon. Or maybe this is more common. Again, I don't know. It's very rare that I listen to type of music that I'm genuinely unfamiliar with, and I think that that's a good thing. If anything, when a person listens to a type of music they haven't heard before, it opens their world a little bit more, you know. And I think that if there is a scene for this that Sweet Little Love is catering to, or that she's part of an expansion of, the more people that vibe with it, the better, especially if it's good to listen to. I feel as though, from a recording, mixing, mastering, production standpoint, this is pretty top tier. There are bits where I was wondering whether the vocals were more present than others, but at the same time, I can't tell if that was intentional or not, because you had wide varieties of perceived loudness changes. The dynamic range in this album was insane. It's like we almost knew that we couldn't just have it going hard the entire time. But then, in some tracks, we were like, no, you know what, screw it. You're just going to have it hard the entire time. Don, 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 don. And then I just bring it up a level with the bass on the right. And it's just, I'm lost. I was lost for words because I was lost for words. It is not often that I hear a type of music that I haven't really had that I'm unfamiliar with. And I thoroughly enjoyed my time with it. I think hopefully it paid off. And hopefully she had a great time making it, because, again, with my understanding of music production, it would have taken ages to get everything cut up in the way that she wanted it. But definitely someone to watch if you aren't already. Go show Sweet Lily Love some... I'll do the conclusion. I'll go over to this side. But yeah, thank you very much for watching my review of Sweet Lily Love's album Fresh. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please do go show Sweet Lily Love some love via their various social medias. And I'm assuming they're going to be on digital stream platforms. This comes out on May the 27th. So by the time you see this, it will be out. Go find it on digital stream platforms. Stay cool and stay safe. And please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time. As either help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on, I'll catch you in the next review. Spiderhands out.